What's up, brothers and sisters? I was going to say good evening, but depending on what time you watch that, I guess that might not make very much sense. So I guess I'll just go with what's up. I'm Keaton Carter, and I serve my mission in Helsinki, Finland. And I just returned about a month and a half ago, maybe a little bit more. It's kind of hard to keep track when there's no church to kind of re-register the week. It's been a long time since I've been here speaking to, I guess, the viewers. And a lot has changed since that point. And I know life is constantly changing, especially, I'm sure we're all familiar, all those that have been on a mission know that a lot changes on your mission too. And I know a lot of you have probably heard the experiences that I'm going to share because maybe you've been on my weekly emails, but I guess you'll just have to listen to them again because this is my talk. Before my mission, I was a pretty good kid as far as kids go. I was trying to do the right things, and I was going to church on Sundays. I even went to seminary most days, and even passed off my reading. But church was never something that was huge in my life. It was something that I did because that's what I did. But I wouldn't say that I necessarily had a testimony for myself. And as I got closer to my mission, I started to kind of ask questions that made me wonder if this really was the truth, and kind of started me on that journey of finding out if this was true. And it got to the point right before my mission, I was asking these questions and I didn't have necessarily a lot of answers, that I kind of maybe got a little frightened. And there was a point that I was contemplating not going on a mission, and I'd already gotten my call and everything. And it was actually my dad. We were having a conversation about it, and he asked me, Keith, if you woke up in your bed the day you were supposed to wake up in the MTC, how would you feel? And that was a very simple thought for me, but it helped me kind of understand that I would always wonder what would have been different if I would have just gone on my mission. Even if it was the first week and I came home and I decided it wasn't for me, I would have always wondered what that week would have done, or what that year would have done, or what that 2 years would have done. And so that's what initially got me out there, what got me in the MTC. And the MTC was quite the experience for me. I know there's a lot of people that love the MTC, and I should have loved it, but I went in there maybe with some wrong attitudes and maybe a little mixed up viewpoints. But for me, it was pretty difficult in the MTC, and I felt a little out of place, and I was really humbled, and that was kind of the perfect state I think that God needed me in to build me up again and help me really find out if this was the truth. And I was really honest in the MTC with myself, with my doubts, with my questions, with my feelings. I was maybe feeling a little skeptical, a little doubtful, maybe angry. And I don't think those feelings are wrong now looking back either. I think that honesty that I had then in the MTC was what eventually led to, my testimony now, being just as honest with the way you feel, being just as honest, with the experiences that I had later on my mission. That honesty was the reason I gained a testimony. And it's from those personal experiences that I had on my mission that I gained my personal testimony that this church is true, and that Book of Mormon is true, and everything that goes along with that. And in Finland, the Finnish people are really awesome people. They're really educated, the smartest people you ever meet. I can't count how many times I felt confounded by the Finnish people, but one thing that I clung to, that I experienced for myself on my mission, was that we didn't have to sell it to anybody. No one had to take our word for it in Finland, because just the same way that we all can gain a testimony for ourselves, they could too. They could have that personal experience and find their own reasons to believe. They could do the experiment like we've all done, and that was just something so special to me. That's something I treasure about this gospel and about testimony, is that we all have the opportunity for ourselves to go and find reasons to believe and experiment. And the Finnish people they're really good at experimenting and doing tests. And so that was something that I really saw a lot of success in my mission, was really just helping people kind of find out for themselves and ask questions for themselves. And for me, that was where my testimony came from, was those personal experiences. And it was specifically with the Book of Mormon. But another beautiful thing I think about testimony is that the way we find those reasons to believe, and even those reasons themselves, aren't the same for everyone. For me, it might have been, I really had to read the Book of Mormon, and I had to get some answers to questions, and had to go on a mission experience for me to find that testimony. But there was one person I met on my mission. His name is Henry, and he's the only person that I ever saw go to baptism on my mission. And his reasons to believe were completely different from mine, and God knew exactly what he needed. We met him on a bus to a city we were on our way back from a city called Bordeaux. And we went there maybe once every 2 weeks. And the bus times were really irregular. And as we were getting on the bus, I saw these 3 men that were speaking English. And, that's just a blessing if you're in Finland when someone's speaking English. So of course I took that opportunity to, talk to him. And one of these people was Henry. And I didn't even think anything of it. I just, said hi, told him who we were, that we were missionaries, and got on the bus and tried to look for a seat next to him, but unfortunately all the seats were taken. So, kind of bummed, we went to the back of the bus and just sat down. And about halfway through this bus ride, this man, Henry, he stands up and he walks right down the aisle to us. And in Finland, that's super strange. It's strange to talk to people oftentimes in Finland, but for someone to get up out of the bus and walk down the aisle and talk to someone, it was just really bold. And so it kind of caught me off guard. Having been there for a year, I was really accustomed to your private space. And he just came straight up to us and asked us and said, "Hey, could I come to your church?" And we were like, "Yes, you can." That's exactly the point. You can come to church. And the lessons that followed that, and all of the amazing experiences and conversations that followed that, it was almost like he already believed in the message. We were just basically telling him what he believed in. And he just had that raw testimony. And it was something to me that was just, so amazing to think about, the spiritual gifts of God. I mean, we're all blessed with different ones, but Henry was blessed with belief, that he could just believe. He just felt it, and he really believed that it was true, and things progressed really well with him. And I really loved those and cherished that experience. And it was a really big growing experience for me and my testimony. And it was just really amazing. And I'm really grateful for that opportunity that we have to ask for ourselves, because the restored gospel is really just a bunch of bold claims. You walk out on the street and you're talking to people, and you're sharing your experiences, and some of the things that you tell people are really different and really new and really bold, quite frankly. And if they're true, they're really important that you tell those things. But it's really important that people, can try for themselves and not just take your word for it, because some of those things can be hard to believe. For example, like the word of wisdom in Finland, that is a really bold claim to say that's the truth, that you can't drink coffee, for example. That's a bold claim. And if it's true, it's really important. But if it's not, then maybe we should just enjoy our coffee. But I just want to share my testimony. And I'll share this maybe small part in English so you guys can understand, and it'd be cool to do it in Finnish too. But I really do have a testimony that this is true, that it really is. And I gained that testimony through the Book of Mormon. And yeah, I was on a mission doing it, but it was really the Book of Mormon for me, reading that book and asking questions and being honest with those feelings that I had. They're real, and they were never something to me that were overwhelming or undeniable. In my experience, the way that God has spoken to me in my life is with seeming coincidences. It's just enough to make you wonder, was that God? Did I really get a spiritual prompting? And it's kind of up to me. This is just my experience, but it was always just kind of just enough to question and be possible that it was from God. That those answers that I received when I read the Book of Mormon, I kind of had to decide, what am I going to believe here? I mean, both are possible. It might just be a coincidence, but it also might be from God. And I'm really grateful for those experiences, and I have a testimony that other people can gain that experience too, and that testimony for themselves. as they read the Book of Mormon and really experiment and fulfill the requirements necessary to receive that end of the promise. What it talks about in Mormon 10 is just that it's by the Holy Ghost that you'll know all things. It's a really powerful promise. Yeah, but I guess I can testify and finish because that's what we do, I guess. No, kun minä tulin Suomeen, se oli vähän vaikea minulle. Ja minulla ei ollut iso todistus silloin, mutta pikkuhiljaa minä olen saanut minun todistus ja minä uskon siihen, että tämän sanoman, joka me jaamme jäseninä ja lähetysarneina on totta. Ja että kaikki ihmisiä voi tulla tietämään heidän itsensä, että se on totta. Ja se sanoo pyhäkirjoituksissa, että pieni asioilla iso asioita tulee. Ja minä uskon siihen, että jos me voimme tehdä niitä pieniä asioita joka päivä ja yrittää ja pyrkää, sitten me voimme saada meidän oma todistus siitä asioita. Ja tämä on minun todistus Jeesuksen Kristuksen nimessä. Aamen.
Amen.